I'm Melissa Chartrand. I'm joined by Becky Lawrence, Chair of the Mid-Cape Cultural Council. And Becky, it's nice to have you in studio today.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about all things Mid-Cape Cultural Council, but before we quite get there, I want to just let our viewers know a little bit about you. You're not from the Cape, but your background is certainly in the arts. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, way back, I started by majoring in art history, if we want to go way back. And so arts have been a thread throughout my life and career. And I started off in museum work, worked at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston and a variety of museums in other parts of the country. And that transitioned me into working for a public arts agency, which gave grants. I started off in Hawaii, giving grants there, and then I went to New Hampshire, where I eventually became the director of the New Hampshire State Arts Council. And it was also at that time that my mother retired, so my relationship to the Cape happened at that time too, in the late 70s, because she bought a house down here, which I now live in. And so I've been coming to the Cape since the 70s, just not living here until the end of 2009 when I retired here.
Right, what a beautiful place to retire.
Yeah.
And then to stay in the arts, and of course it's been an important part of your life, as you say, all along, you became involved in the Mid-Cape Cultural Council.
Right, I didn't really know how to go about it, but you know, the town advertises vacancies on all of the committees and boards that are connected to the town, and the Mid-Cape Cultural Council is a town council. It is part of town government, and so we're kind of loosely administratively attached to the Department of Growth Management, but we operate quite independently as a partner of the Massachusetts Cultural Council.
Right, you're a local cultural council through the Massachusetts Cultural Council, which would be the equivalent of what you did up in New Hampshire.
Right.
And as a local cultural council, first, let's say that you received a very special award this year, recognition by the Mass Cultural Council.
Yes, thanks you for remembering that.
Sure.
We were named the Council of the Year, 2014 Council of the Year, and this was the inaugural award given by the Massachusetts Cultural Council to recognize how well we were administering the monies that they give us in terms of regranting them out to the local community, how we are being a good advocate for the arts in our community, but also beyond that in terms of advocating for public funding for state and local resources, and just in general, the way we're operating. And this is pretty exciting because there are 329 local cultural councils in the state, so to be singled out as the Council of the Year is pretty special.
Right, in the first year. It's very special and well-deserved, I might add.
Thank you.
And that's the other thing to point out, there are 329. However, Barnstable works with Yarmouth. There's representatives from both towns. That's why we're the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, and support and promote the arts in both those communities.
Right, we're the only regional council on the Cape. So there are 14 local cultural councils on the Cape, but we're the only ones that try to combine resources with the town of Yarmouth and the town of Barnstable, but the town of Barnstable being a little larger, having a little more structure to some of their financial behaviors, we funnel all of our monies through the town of Barnstable, and we're attached to the town of Barnstable.
And so we just touched upon briefly why you were recognized. Let's dig a little deeper to let our viewers know what the council does, how you assist with the arts here in Barnstable and Yarmouth.
Okay, I think we're best known for the fact that we do actually give grants at the community level. The grants are small grants. They range from $250 to $1,000, but at the local level that can make a really big difference.
It makes a huge difference at that local level.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think we were recognized for is that you have to promote the opportunity, and you have to assist people in making applications. And quite frankly, when I first came on, that wasn't always happening. I mean, it was kind of a little more passive. But we have developed workshops that we give in late September, early October to help people write the grants and to publicize the application opportunities. So we increased the number of applications we received by threefold. And even more importantly, the applications we were receiving were of higher quality, of more interest. They were more tied to telling the local story, not just bringing an entertainer in for a story hour.
Right. it's much more than that. Let's dig a little deeper into that grant process, is that you really look for that community connection.
Right, right. I think that's very important, because I think at the local level that's what you want to do. You want to help the community tell the story about itself and to celebrate itself and to generate pride in community heritage, because we, in addition to the arts, we also work with heritage organizations of historical societies and so forth, and interpretive science. For example, like the Long Pasture festival that we do. We help them do. And so we go through a process every 3 years to solicit community input, and we do that with surveys and meetings, and we have this year coming up, we're going to be doing that again. And it was identified that youth is the most important audience that we want to reach with these services of grants, and so that's one of our highest priorities, but it's not exclusively what we do. We also provide programming for seniors. For example, today at the Barnstable Senior Center, there's going to be a performance of African dance that is being done for the seniors, and we finance the artistic fees for that.
Fabulous. And then in addition to grants, what else does the Mid-Cape Cultural Council do?
Well, these are some of the things we're just starting to do, and because I see our role is threefold. It's obviously to give the grants, that's key and ongoing, but second is to be an advocate and to be a promoter of the arts and the importance of the arts and culture in our lives. And the third is to provide services of one kind or another. So one of the projects that we're working on is to develop an artist directory of Cape artists, because one of our priorities is to fund projects that feature Cape artists. I mean, there are many great artists around the state, and people can pick from any of those artists, but our focus is to help Cape artists have opportunities here. So that's one of the things that we're doing. And then to help us do some of these things, because we want to give the majority of our money that we get from the state as granting out as grants, we have started very modest local fundraising activities.
Right, you've worked with local restaurants, which I think is fabulous, again supporting that local economy. Right. And culinary is an art, in my opinion, as well.
Absolutely.
So I know you've worked with some local restaurants to give percentages, and you have another fundraiser going on now. Let's talk about that.
We do. We have a summer fundraiser coming up. It's as far as I know, it's a unique fundraiser, because it involves eating ice cream and making pictures of ice cream and celebrating ice cream. And so our major partner in this is Four Seas Ice Cream in Centerville. They're supplying all of the prizes, first, second, and third prizes in 4 age categories. And it's an art contest, basically. And the fundraising aspect of it is that we do charge a very modest $5 entry fee. So we aren't trying to make huge thousands of dollars with this, but we're hoping to have just enough to, do modest administrative kind of needs we have, like copying or whatever, as a result of this. But it's really also, again, about celebrating the community. And one of the nice things about this, even if you don't win the fabulous prize of a Sunday party for 4 from Four Seas Ice Cream as a first prize, anyone who enters is invited to the August 10th ice cream social, where the winners will be announced and free ice cream is served at that time.
And then all the submissions of their drawings will be on display as well, from what I understand.
In the Centerville Library in the community room. We're going to put up an exhibit.
Well, to get more information, Becky, on this particular contest, the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, to see all the wonderful things that you do, and to even become involved, there are a few seats available, and of course there's a process for that, but at least the information is all available. Where can our viewers go to get that information?
Well, our Facebook page is the easiest place to find information about us. There is a website that is maintained by the state, but it's a little bit harder to post things on it, particularly pictures and things like the entry form for the contest. But there also will be, if you go to Four Seas Ice Cream or Centerville Library, they should have some entry forms as well.
Okay, great. Or look right on Facebook for Mid-Cape Cultural Council.
Right.
Wonderful. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
I would like to say I feel very lucky to be attached to the town of Barnstable and to have the town support an arts and culture coordinator, because I think that is also quite unique. and award-winning activity that you do.
Well, thank you, Becky. Thank you very much. Thanks for all that you do to help support and promote arts in our community. So for Becky Lawrence from the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, I'm Melissa Chartrand.